Alright, well, good morning, folks. It is Nick Mulbauer here, and I am out on a tiny little half-hour smallmouth trip. Yesterday we got some unexpected rain, and it brought an inch or so of water into our area. And what that does is brings the water level up a little bit, and it puts a little stain in the water. In addition to that, it can wash forage into the streams, so it's always a really exciting time, in my opinion, to get out on a creek and see if anything's hungry to bite. Right now I have a topwater popper. I think it's a, can't remember the brand, Rebel. It's a Rebel popper, really famous common popper brand. And I'm gonna start with that. We got a bit of stain, and in addition to that we have clouds. We have cloud cover, and I think that these smallmouth might be interested in that lure despite the water clarity being not as stained as I thought, but they might react to it. If they don't, I also have a beetle spin, and I think maybe that'll draw the fish out of the rocks on a day like today with the stained water. I feel like that's not too projecting of a lure. It's got some flash to it, but I don't think it's going to be crazy. Third option I might throw is the classic Zman Ned Craw, and that thing will work in all conditions. The water clarity is on the end of stained, but clear enough to where I think this will still stand out. And we'll just try throwing a couple, see what we can do here, and see if we can't buy a bite. I'm just going to toss it as close to those rocks as possible, see if I can't get something to react. There's something on the first cast. There we go. First cast, guys. Followed it all the way out. Bring him up on the mud. Look at that beautiful color on that smallmouth, guys. Ooh. Let him get all of his energy out. We got these treble hooks, so we want to be careful. We'll wash him off here quick. Unstick him and take a look at him, just so we can see that beautiful color. And it seems like topwaters can kind of segregate the fish out. It seems like you might get some of those larger fish to commit to that lure than, you know, say the Ned Craw or, you know, the little beetle spin. I mean, you'll catch some big ones, but those topwaters seem to really entice the larger ones to bite. I mean, this thing isn't anything crazy, but the deal is in our water systems, this is a pretty good fish. I'm gonna have to get the pliers out to unstick him, I think. Well, I can't find my pliers, so we'll just work to get him unstuck. Time is of the essence. I don't like taking forever to get these fish unstuck, and he's stuck pretty good in the lip there. Alright, we got him unstuck. So let's have a look at this smallmouth, guys. Look at that. That is a beautiful little creek smallmouth there. And we just love catching them on top water. That just makes them even more fun. So since I've had that fish out of the water trying to unstick him, I'll get him back. We want to get these fish back pretty quick and let him swim off and do his thing, get back to his life. So there we go. And usually that big one will bite pretty quick. That might be the biggest one in here. Not to say that there aren't more, because that's always a possibility, but it did work under these conditions, that old topwater popper. The nice thing about the popper is it does not project itself much. You can work it very subtly and get a bite even on water that doesn't have a lot of chop, doesn't have a lot of action on the surface. You can really get those fish to go, especially when we come into the late summer, early fall months. That popper can really shine on creeks. So don't be bashful and give it a whirl for sure. Here we go, guys. Smallie number 2 on the top water. I just had a larger one go after it, but I wasn't able to stick him. He's a little smaller fish, so you'll even get the smaller ones on here. We'll unstick this one quick and get him back. So just another smallmouth there. And one thing I really like to do when I'm fishing a popper is I like to put a clip on it. And what that does is it frees that lure up to really sway a lot. Instead of just going straight to line, if you have the clip on there, that lure has so much more action and can wave a lot more. It puts a lot more action in that topwater lure. So I always like to put the clip on there. I think another important thing today is the cloud cover, like I mentioned earlier. I think with the cloud cover, those fish are a lot more confident in being drawn out of the rocks. They'll follow it up onto these flats, onto these sandbars a lot further than if we had pure sunshine. There's another one. So yeah, if we had pure sunshine, these smallmouth would not be following this lure out onto the sandbars and the mud flats. They would shy away from it for sure, because with the stain and the cloud cover, these fish aren't as exposed in that shallow water, so they are more willing to come out from that deeper water. They'll follow it a lot further. So with the stained water, the cloud cover, and the addition of probably forage being washed into the streams, these smallmouth can get really fired up on these little creeks, and you can really do some damage. And it's a lot of fun, especially on that topwater. Like I said, that topwater bite is just so fun. It's so visual, and you can't beat it. Smallmouth topwater creek fishing is the creme de la creme. It's so much fun. We've got 3 smallmouth on topwater, and one came up and looked at it in one little stretch of creek about 50 feet wide. This goes to show you how many fish can stack up in these areas. Pretty impressive. Alright folks, I'm going to reel this topwater in. We're going to put that Ned Craw on and see if we can't sweep up one more. Give me one sec. I think it did its damage. That topwater Rebel popper. It's the bee's knees. Natural color. And it cleaned them up pretty good. Let's see if we can get 2 more out of this stretch. Clean them up with the finessing Ned Craw here. There's one, guys, on the craw. What we got here? Is this a crappie? Hey, creek crappie, guys. See, this is what happens. Everybody comes alive. Got him right in the snoot. Look at that. What an accident. Creek crappie, folks. Look at that. Nice little creek crappie. Those are rare, but sometimes you do happen upon them, especially after a fall rain. And again, all that forage washes into the creeks. It's just a really exciting time to get in the creeks, is after a nice little rain. You just never know what's going to happen. Alright folks, so I decided to try one last lure, and what I have here is a Keitech Swimbait. I think it's a 2.5 inch, and we have it tied to a 16th ounce jig head. Just enough weight to get down in the water column in this area. Not much current. I have a white color on because with that stain, I think that it's going to do just fine. And there we had a bite first try. It's not going to project itself too much, but it'll stand out in that water. And that's exactly what we want. We're just going to swim it along and see if we can't get one more to go. There we go. Smallmouth acrobatics, guys. Pulling some drag. Keep him low. Just keep him pinned. There we go, guys. There's one on the swim bait, a chunker. Bottom hooked him. Get that off of there. Get him unstuck. And again, this is on the 2.5 inch Keitech swim bait on a 16th ounce jig head, which is just perfect for a little creek with not much current. But there we go. One more smallie to end the little half-hour trip here. We'll let him go. Let him get back to his business. And yeah, like I said, it's just a really good time to be out on a creek after a little rain. Get a little bit of stain, and you got the cloud cover, and what it does is I think it just activates the fish. Forage is moving. There's new forage in the creeks. Just all sorts of variables that might really activate those smallmouth. So get out there, get fishing, get on the water. It's a great time to be out in them creeks smallmouth fishing. Alright folks, so just as a quick recap of our little half-hour trip here, we threw a topwater Rebel popper, we threw a Ned Craw, we threw a beetle spin, and we threw that Keitech little 2.5 inch swim bait. The beetle spin didn't have any bites. I think with that water already starting to clear up from the light rain we had yesterday, it was just projecting itself too much. It was a white lure with a spinner bait on it, and I think that was just a bit much for these fish in this pretty stagnant, quiet water. Topwater popper worked great. I think with the cloud cover and the stain of the water, those fish were more than happy to follow that lure out of the rocks and smash it. They're definitely on a feeding frenzy, I think, with the conditions we have. They're definitely not afraid to follow out a lure. They are pretty aggressive. The Ned Craw, that didn't get any bites. I'm really surprised. Other than that crappie, it really surprises me that I didn't get a bite on that. But then again, it just goes to show that you need to be switching your lures, especially when you know that fish are holding in an area. If you're not getting bit, just switch your lures, because you will get bit when you find the right lure. Lastly, that Keitech swim bait, that thing worked on the first cast. I got a couple bites. They were probably green sunfish, but we got that other decent, not too bad sized smallmouth, definitely on the upper end of the day. And I think with that white color, it stood out just enough, but it wasn't too much. If the water clarity was a lot better, I would have definitely opted for a more natural color, but I think that white swim bait was definitely the ticket. And any kind of variation of that, you just need to find that fine line of making it stand out but not too much to where they shy away from it. So we'll get back at it. It was a fun little trip to just try to get out. It was fun to catch them on that top water for a bit there. That was a joy to me. I love that visual strike, so much fun. But I'll let y'all go. Hope you learned another thing or two, and we'll get back at it in the very near future. So y'all take care, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Peace. Stay out of there, twerp. Flip in the bigger one on 4 pound. Bonus bass number 2, guys. 4 pound line, topwater popper. Dragging him in. Got him on his gill there. That is some tough material. There we go. Rebel popper, guys. Rebel popper right there. That's the money. Get out there, guys. The fall topwater bite is on.